Without further ado, let's get the Hybrid Cloud and Cybersecurity West Africa Summit started with a welcome remark from our most gracious and eminent guest of honor, Dr. Agu Collins, Director of Research and Development Department, National Information Technology Development Agency. A small brief of Dr. Agu Collins: a strong proponent of open source knowledge, indigenous and adaptation of technology, and having many years of hands-on real industry experience in upstream ICT products, design, development, specializing in the development of IoT systems, advanced embedded system design and programming, PCB design and manufacture, SCADA and HMI systems, design and integration of renewable energy systems, R&D, and innovation management. A player in the Nigerian ICT industry developing indigenous, innovative products such as Unity Board AI, IoT STEAM Education Kit, Ubono IoT Engine, Amodo IoT Platform, Rutronic IoT Platform, Short-Range RFID-Y Reader, RFID Biometric E-Voting System for Nigerian Society of Engineers, that's NSE, RFID Biometric Staff Attendance and Access Control System for the Presidency, ICPC, Ministry of Transport, Intelligent Launch Control System, and etc. He is also the chairman of the committee that developed the 4-year, that is from 2021 to 2024, IT roadmap for Nigeria, while he was the director of corporate planning and strategy department at the National Information Technology Development Agency. Dr. Agu Collins is the recipient of many prestigious awards and recognition. He is the founder of an innovation charity as well, that is the TD PAL IoT Hub Nigeria. Let's welcome Dr. Agu Collins on stage, and over to you, Your Grace.
Yeah, thank you very much, Shivoyen Peters, and also thank you to everybody that is on board. And once more, warm greetings from NITDA, Nigeria. And it is a great honor and pleasure for me to speak in this very hybrid cloud and cybersecurity West Africa Summit of 2022. I sincerely thank the organizers for this invitation. It's an interesting conference, and I'm really excited with the themes of the conference and the talking points. As mentioned already, I work for National IT Development Agency, NITDA, as the director of R&D. As a matter of fact, I just resumed my new position as the R&D director today in the office. I'm very, very excited. So NITDA is just a brief introduction about the agency I work. NITDA is saddled with the core responsibility of regulating and developing information technology across both the public and private sectors in Nigeria. And then I would like to point out one of the essence of this hybrid cloud and cybersecurity West Africa Summit 2022, which is to act as a pivotal catalyst in empowering West Africa business leaders to transform and scale their digital foundation to stay resilient, which is very, very important, dynamic and innovative, while also driving the future workforce with the most efficient digital innovation. This is very, very apt and very, very timely. Then the conference agenda is focusing on innovative emerging technologies and the most trending best practices that are leading the digital world. I mean, this cannot be overemphasized because today we talk about the fourth industrial revolution. And then digital isn't just about technology, of course. It is about what technology can enable. I use the word PPT, people, process, and technology. It involves new ways of solving problems, creating unique experiences, and automating processes for socio-economic development. Now, let's look at Africa as a whole before we come to West Africa. Africa has been plagued with the spirit of consumerism. We consume technology. Most of it is imported to Africa. And I think that is one of the reasons why the AFICTA was created, to see higher internal integration of trading within Africa as a whole. But now is the question, how do we build the workforce of the future in Africa? Now we're here talking about the cybersecurity, talking about cloud technology. Most of this may be imported in Africa. But then how do we build those skill sets that are required by the industry to drive these technologies? Or do we sit back and be spectators? Or do we build this skill set to be actually players? There's no question about the huge potentials inherent in Africa with this endowment of over 1.37 billion people, with West Africa having a combined population of over 400 billion, the largest regional population and economy in the continent, and strategically located. ECOWAS further strengthens the position of West Africa and further augmented by AFTA. So the question is, with 1.37 billion people, how do you turn them from being a potential liability to a potential asset or asset? It is through human capital development in emerging technologies. While technical advancements are undoubtedly increasing productivity, concerns over job losses due to automation is right. The World Economic Forum predicts net job growth overall, with as many as 4 new roles emerging for each role lost. Yes, automation creates higher productivity, but at the same time, there's that fear of job losses. But as you can see, for any one job lost, there's that potential to create 4 more. So the question is, do you have those skill sets, to drive or to participate or to, run such jobs or to be engaged in such job that is available? Now, without both reforms in education, through the introduction of education technology and clear policies to guide us through, many people will lack the necessary skills to fill these new positions in the future economies. Our educators have the responsibility to prepare our students, providing them not only with the knowledge and understanding of the technologies, but also the skills needed to make them work ready and succeed in the fast-changing world. In educating for the 4th industrial revolution in the current environment, the educational tools, techniques, and curricula that we have been using for decades may no longer be fit for this purpose. Technology becomes technology solutions nationwide for sustainability, problem-solving capability through creative thinking, and problem-based learning methods, especially at the early age. Now, there's what we call the CATI program. Is under the ICT for the CATI is actually Catch Them Young program. So there's need to encourage such program where you can have youngsters participating. So there's a big question now we ask, where are some of the trending practices that are leading the digital world, and how can it be adopted in Africa? That's a big question. Of course, I'm making my presentation after this short speech. Africa has been plagued with the spirit of consumerism. I mentioned that already. Today we'll talk about IoT, 4th industrial revolution, characterized by the fusion of digital, biological, and physical worlds. And is the current developing environment in which disruptive technologies, trends such as cybersecurity, big data, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, robotics, virtual reality, cloud computing, and 3D printing are changing the way we live and work. Now, we, leveraging ICT in Nigeria, under the agency where I work, we have come up with a solution to help us build those skill sets that we need, especially in this part of the world. And why most of this technology don't succeed here is what we call adaptation of technology. Most of the time, we tend to adopt this technology without much adaptation. So we came up with, an education technology solution to help diminish the deficiency in the industry sought after a marketable skills, especially in emerging technologies, leveraging ICT as an enabler, and establish Africa, using ICT as an enabler to help establish West Africa, to help her reskill her workforce. So we introduced the Unity Board. So I will talk about the Unity Board today as part of the STEAM Education AI IoT Kit that will actually help us in Africa and West Africa in particular to build those skill sets that will help us drive some of these technologies we're talking about today. For example, the cybersecurity and also the, the cloud technology. Besides that, it's very important for us to pay attention to some of the challenges we have in Africa. We mentioned most of these technologies. The big question is, where is the energy? Where is the power resources to drive this technology? Your cloud technology, do you have enough power to run the data center efficiently for people to benefit from some of these big technologies? So these are some of the challenges we as West Africans and Africa as a whole should look at. So I would like to share my screen very fast. And 2 seconds, I think I'm sharing here. Okay, I will share this one. And then I will drag my 2 seconds, please, very fast. I'll make it. So as I mentioned already, the core of my discussion or my speaking today will be actually on the capacity development in emerging technologies for West Africa, because most of these technologies we have out today, we've not got enough human capital to actually drive it, and hence comes the need where we need to provide the platforms that to actually help us, in driving this technology, at least to make our workforce to be future-proof. So let's look at some of the emerging technologies today. I mentioned about AI, Internet of Things, and so on and so forth. But I will basically focus on Internet of Things because it's one of the pillars of the fourth industrial revolution, as most of us have already know. So if you look at it, it contains what they call the 4 C's: the computation, the control, the connectivity, and the networking. Your computation is your firmware, software. Control is your hardware, sensor, saturation. Connectivity is your networking. And then your cloud is like your database. If you look at it, all the pillars of IT is actually contained within the IoT. And that shows the strategic importance of building some of these, of building knowledge in these areas. Very, very important to build workforce, that will be future-proof and future-ready to drive some of these emerging areas. Now, let's look at the first generic architecture of IoT from my perspective. We will have the broker platform, the client front end, which could be your mobile app or what have you. The gateway, that's actually the communication pathway. Sensors, remote terminal unit, Unity board. Computation is your switching. Today we'll talk about smart cities, opening of gates, switching of high voltages like 380 volts, 220 volts, and so on and so forth. That lies under the communication part. Now, being the foundation of foundations of one of the fourth industrial revolution, it points out again the strategic importance of paying particular attention to these areas of IoT and building a capacity and also carrying out what they call the field applications. I don't know if I'm too fast. Let me know if I'm too fast, please. I was given 15 minutes. That's what I'm trying to cover up. Now, what are the hardware challenges and constraints in existing platforms? We all know about one of the biggest open source platforms in the world, the Arduino, and also single board computers like Raspberry Pi. So let's look at the existing challenges with respect to Africa or with respect to West Africa. Cost and availability of the shields. We don't have it everywhere in Africa. Most people don't have that ability to have some electronic shops and so on and so forth. Maybe like DigiKey stores and so on and so forth. Direct switching of heavy loads. Most board cannot switch to 20 volts for you directly, means switching. Arduino can't do that. Raspberry can't do that. Voltage interfacing 3.3 volt to 5 volts. Today we are migrating from high voltage TTL to 3.3, 1.8 volt, and so on and so forth. So because of time, I may not be able to go through this. So I'll just go through the next slide now. So these existing solutions we have for IoT, possibly, Raspberry Pi, Arduino, and so on and so forth. So Unity board is what we have introduced in Nigeria, and it is a product that's been endorsed by the Nigerian government for capacity development, even from early education. People as young as 5 years, 6 years, up to the university level. And not only that, it also acts as a platform for its field applications that actually drives innovation, that leads to commercialization, and commercialization actually increases the revenue base of any government in Nigeria. So this very board was co-authored by myself. And then this actually the block diagram of the Unity board, a very fast, a dashboard view of the Unity board. As you can see, it can implement a lot of sensing, like environment sensing possibility, has your gas sensor on it, has your thermometer, so you can actually sense the air quality, can sense the temperature, so on and so forth. So it has so many functions in it compared to an existing platform. And the beauty about it is that it is designed with some of our challenges in West Africa and man, where actually, and especially in Nigeria, we actually have identified those hardware pitfalls that we have, and we have actually implemented it on the Unity board to make sure that have the applications of IoT solutions is easier with very, very heavy local content. So I've mentioned a lot about Unity board. As I mentioned, it helps for teaching of STEAM. Nowadays, we're moving from STEM to STEAM. STEAM is your science, technology, engineering, and math. There's the 8 stars for the application of it, field application. or identify some of the problem within your vicinity to solve using your gained knowledge. So already we have kids already training on that platform of Unity board. As you can see the picture here, we started training school kids and using Scratch for Arduino, which was developed by MIT of the US. So they're actually doing very, very well using the board. And the good thing about that, it falls under the Catch Them Young program. So at an early age, they start assimilating some of this emerging knowledge. And that helps create that future workforce that we need to drive the fourth industrial revolution. So these are some of the specifications of the Unity board. I think I will share that with all of you later because there'll be no time for me to go through, because the question is, what is the big deal about Unity board compared to existing platforms? So actually specification will tell you what problems we have solved, how we have managed to adapt it, because most of the times in Africa, we adopt technology without adaptation, and that makes the equation of sustainability to be very, very poor. So we don't have that because of the non-adaptation of technology, but here we have succeeded in adapting the technology. Now, one of the biggest problems we solve with Unity board is the cost of ownership of ICT devices like your laptop. Desktop is very expensive in the rural areas in Africa. Most people can't afford it. They don't have the capital. So what we do with Unity board is leveraging on the fact that we have a high diffusion of GSM mobile networks in Nigeria. We have big coverage of what you call cellular network. We actually made the Unity board to be programmable through your Bluetooth with your mobile device. So in the spirit of digital inclusion, that makes it possible for people at the rural areas or below the red line to be able to participate in assimilating the knowledge in IoT and so on and so forth. We don't have any board like that in this world where you can actually directly use your phone to program it remotely under what we call the FOTA, firmware over the air, or over-the-air programming. Unity board has that on it already. And today, it makes people in their rural areas to actually use their phone, Android-based phones and what have you, to actually program the board. And that actually increases the number of people that are learning and then the impact of the Unity board as a whole. So what are the uses of Unity board? That's a big question now. I already mentioned many platforms. It's compatible with the existing platform like the Arduino IDE. There's some of the graphical programming interfaces like ArduBlock. It is also compatible with Bluino, and so on and so forth. And then it can apply it, very importantly here, in learning embedded programming, developing and testing firmware, also smart technology, tracking system. Look, anything that has to do with remote monitoring can be done there, based on the specification, which if you go to, you understand more of it, okay? Then the big question is, where has this board been used? So these are the links to my YouTube channel, where we have few applications of the board. We have used them to monitor water. We've also used it to monitor environments and also develop what they call the smart agriculture, where we can sense the NPK, nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus of farms, moisture content that will actually help optimize their farm yield and so on and so forth. Then here is a competitive matrix with existing solutions that shows that African technology is in nowhere inferior to what is already out there. And the good thing, as I mentioned, it has been adapted for sustainability within the West African sub-region, especially. But I have to mention that this can be used in any part of the world already. So this competitive matrix, which I will share the slide for you to go through. Then again, adoption strategy. In Nigeria, developed an adoption strategy, which I mentioned already. The National Council on Communication and Digital Economy approved the deployment of the board nationwide for capacity development in emerging technology, collaboration with Ministry of Education, private sectors, makers, and so on and so forth. Then secondly, we're developing or rejigging or retweaking curriculum, also to be in line with the industry sought after skills, in line with the fourth industrial revolution, because most of the skill sets of curriculum being used today is a bit obsolete, because there's a high rate of obsolescence of knowledge today. So we're taking a lot of curriculum and also collaborating with my university where I studied in Ukraine. Unfortunately, we're at war right now, and so on and so forth. So these are some of the awards the board has actually earned. It gained a lot of attention. This is an award by the government, recognition of the board as an education technology platform. So we strongly believe that this very board can be applied across West African sub-region for intensive capacity development in things like IoT. Now, for a data center that hosts most of the cloud applications to survive, you need to, one, have coming in to be reposited in your center. So the IoT actually drives a lot of data, because IoT is the data generator on its own. Imagine having a remote data logger pushing data per minute per second to your cloud application within a data center. That's a lot of income for the data center to survive, because we have some of these challenges of their survivability in the places like Nigeria. The same thing goes with the security aspect. What are the security can introduce to some of these IoT platforms to make them to be secure, especially if you come to some of the remote programming under the firmware over the air update of some of these IoT platforms. So here are some of the documents, approval from the government, and also, just a reference to them, which you can check and read more on it. And then here are some of the reference material. The Unity board introduction, you can get that straight from here. And then, read it deep, because I don't have enough time to go through everything. And then here, of course, is, as I mentioned, some of the application. This is actually a small box for farm environment monitoring system using a lithium battery. And Unity board is there for application from school kids to students carrying out their final year practicals and so on and so forth. So, to round up what I'm saying, it's very, very important. Besides discussing technologies in Africa, the big question remains, who is going to drive it? How do we build that capacity? And then where are those areas that are handmade by the industry? How do we benefit of the players when it comes to international outsourcing? Where some projects can be outsourced to us, some models can be outsourced to us. And that is where the capacity development is very, 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 very important when it comes in. It's something that we must not overlook when we come to any discussions and any conferences, because as it stands today, with our population of over 400 million people in West Africa, that is a big asset. These assets can be utilized for the overall improvement of the whole sub-region. However, if we don't actually plan it critically or strategically, this potential asset can actually be a liability. We'll have a large population of people that have no skills, or a large population of people that have obsolete skills. They can't fit into the new world because they've not really assimilated the new knowledge to make them to be players. I think once more, I want to thank the organizers of this very wonderful conference, and also extend my appreciation for also inviting me once more in this very conference to join and make a few presentations. So I will stop here and take a few questions. Thank you very much. I could take some few questions.
Yes. So, Dr. Agu, as of now, I don't see any questions coming your way. However, if there are any questions, we will email those questions to you. And I must thank you for your zeal, love, and compassion in developing such a futuristic approach. Enjoy the rest of your day and the summit. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.